everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Your Delusional podcast, hosted by myself, LaTerra Wair. Hi guys. Hello. So it is another week, another holiday week. I got this super cute oversized onesie from Charlotte Russe. If you were a audio listener, I am wearing this. Guys, every time I feel like when I tell you guys I'm wearing something, it feels like y'all are calling in on this little like chat line. Not the point, sorry. So anyway, if you're listening, I'm wearing a pink oversized, like, think snuggie hoodie thing. And it has little Grinches on it from the book version of the Grinch. And it's pink and it just says rest time Grinch face. Yeah. And it has his little dog and everything on it. But anywho, so hi guys, welcome back to another week. I hope you guys are having a good week. It's a holiday week again. I want to start off again by telling you guys I'm so grateful for you. I'm so appreciative for you. You guys have been showing up for me so incredibly much during this like holiday season and time of Vlogmas and everything like that. And it's really been inspiring to me. It's really been like keeping me pushing forward and all this kind of stuff. But we're going to talk about that later on in the year. So also I'm going to put out the announcement on here. If you're someone who is just a podcast listener, I'm going to be putting out a vision board making video and it is going to premiere. So I'm going to be watching it for the first time with you guys, and that'll be my last main channel video of the year. So if you're interested, just be sure to hop on and watch with us at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Guys, hello. It's another week. I've had so much going on this week. I think that I've really gotten to the full swing of Vlogmas this week, as well as my marketing project is due this week, and it is my last class of the year. And then I think I'm on a 3-week break, which is super, super cool. So I've been kind of doing that, just been getting really into the content that I want to make next year. I've had plans coming out and like, I want to go hard. Like I want to go real hard for y'all, to be honest. It's just like being here and booking and things. I think for a long time, there are things that like I didn't talk about, and there are things that I still don't care to talk about because it's just a very like interpersonal thing going on with me. And it's just like kind of things like self-doubt and all this kind of stuff. And recently I've just had very affirming signs, and because of that I kind of feel like I got this little spark back and I'm really into it. And maybe that's just the way my brain be going up and down, and that's a bigger issue we need to talk about, you know, I don't know, but that's kind of what's been going on for me. That sparked me into having this conversation today with y'all and just kind of like thinking about the archetype of person, and more so like, who do you want to be? Here's how I guess I stumbled upon this. I feel like there were signs in the ether all week for me. I did a video on Monday and it was one of my favorite videos I've ever filmed. And I don't know why. It just kind of like felt right, I guess, to film it. It just felt like everything was where it was supposed to be. I was where I was supposed to be. And I felt exactly like who I am, you know, that kind of thing. And when you have everything in a day that just feels right, it kind of just makes you feel like all the faking the funk that you're doing, like, this is really it. Like, you could really do this. This is really the person who like you want to be. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of put me on like a high for the week. And I think that my week is just going very well. I'm socializing well this week and all types of stuff like that. And it really just all of this made me think like, this is the person that I want to be. This is the person that I care to be. And I was also having a conversation with someone, and I was telling them about at the end of life and at the end of the day, I don't want to personally die and no one knew exactly who I was. No one knew like or worse off, they think I'm a terrible fucking person, you know? And like, that's something that really does plague me, because in my heart, I feel like I show up to be genuine. I try to be very genuine with everybody off bat. My representative is very front facing. I like to say, I don't try to misrepresent my intention with someone, especially if I understand like the depth and like the length in which I want to be in a relationship with like a friend or a business partner or like whatever it may be, right? So because of that, I am very front facing always. And knowing that about me, it just helps me simplify a lot of issue, because truly, if I wasn't a good person, then if I already knew that, I don't really have to worry about that. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of them things. And so I really care a lot about like the person that I am, and not just for other people's sake, but for my own sake, for my own like sanity, my own morality. And I really care about the person that I am because I have lived the longest in my body. It's kind of like if you were working on a project for, let's say, I want to live to be like 95. If you were working on a project for 95 years and it's terrible, how would you feel about that? You know, like how would you truly feel dedicating 95 years of your time to a project? And that's yourself. Truly, that is yourself. So if you're dedicating all this time and energy, like make your project good. I, a huge Drake fan. Come hell or high water, I'm a big Drake fan. I don't like go out of my way to actively like listen to drops or anything. Like if there's a whole album that's being promoted coming out, for sure I'm gonna listen, right? But that's kind of with any artist. But anywho, Drake has this song. I've been playing it like crazy. It's on his Care Package album and it's called Heat of the Moment. And there's this line in Heat of the Moment, and the lady says, basically he's telling a story about how a girl was talking to him and she was saying that the world was about to end. And then the girl said, who are you going to be when it's all over? And that's basically a summation of everything that I was just kind of talking about. I'm not saying that solely based off these lyrics or nothing like that, but in summary, that's the best way to say that. It's like, who are you going to be when everything is over? When people talk about you, when you, like, I don't know what happens in the afterlife, but if you get to like replay your life, like, who are you? Right? And like, I care about who I am. And that's been really heavy on my mind. And then this week has just been so affirming for me. And everything that I want to do, I'm putting time into doing it. I'm putting effort into doing it. And the person that I'm going to get to say that I am at the end of all of this, I'm so proud. I'm so incredibly, like, so proud of her. I think that, like, my parents in genuine are proud of me. Not on some, like, they're just proud because I finally got my life together. No, I really have put effort into developing my human, you know, like in a weird way to say that. I put so much effort into developing my human because eventually I want to have humans and I want them to care about who they are. I want them to care about what they do in this life and all this kind of stuff because that's important. And your character, sorry, I'm talking too much. And your character, super important. Like all these things are so important. So that's made me really start to think though about like the archetypes of people. I have noticed throughout my life that I meet so many new people, like on I guess I'll say a day-to-day. On a weekly basis, I will probably meet at least 100 new people weekly. And through all the people that I've met, I feel like you can kind of categorize someone into an archetype of a person, if that makes sense. Everyone is not the same because everyone's individuality is the thing that gives them this like quirkiness and all this kind of stuff added to their personality or added to their person. But in general, think people are like archetypes of people. You know what I mean? Kind of like how people say you can have like a hotepi person, you can have a hipster person, like a hipster woman, you could have a alt person, you can have someone who is a narcissistic person, you can have someone who is controlling. You know, there are different archetypes that you can put people in, and that helps you kind of understand who they are within the character of them, if that makes sense. So when I think about archetypes of people, I think that that's just so very interesting because do you guys think that people try to play into an archetype of person, or do you think that you just fall into something based off what was around you and that's just you? Or do you think that some people just choose to be a certain way because they like the benefits and the repercussions that come with those things? These are kind of the questions that I've been thinking about, like being an archetype-esque person. Like if I was to define myself, I would say I'm a very personality-wise, I think that I am very tree hugger core to my heart, for real. Like I'm very tree hugger core in the way of like, I really care about a lot of things. I think that a lot of things are very important, and not just for, I think that it's important to like question things. I think it's important to like have an understanding as to why things work the way they work and stuff like that. So I'm very like inquisitive. I'm very like save the earth. I'm very, that. But then if I'm thinking about like my archetype of woman, I guess I don't know what my necessary archetype of woman is. You know what I mean? Like I think that I do. The more women that I meet like myself, I think that I do, but I don't really have a name for it. But I definitely see where I fall into like a group. And then when it comes to things like expression and like fashion and dress and stuff, I think I'm a baddie through and through. Sometimes I like to just be like Adam Sandler. Sometimes I like to not care. Sometimes I went to the store the other day in like not even sweatpants, in like pajama pants, some Uggs, and a sweatshirt. We got to get it done. That's literally how it be sometimes. And I just don't care about things like to certain detail. I feel like that other people do care about things. And so I wouldn't say that I'm like a soft core girly aesthetic, or anything like that. 'Cause I couldn't say that for real. But like, I love an archetype, right? I really do love to see where people fit into an archetype, because there's nothing wrong with it. I think that it's very important to have a sense of like individuality, but there's never anything wrong with also like finding your group and finding the people who you like resonate with. Perfectly fine. All this has been making me like think about that. And then I think that when I was thinking about archetypes, that also just spun me back into like who do you want to be? I know people more so, this is what this is coming from. I know people who are very rude and like ugly to people, not like outwardly ugly. Sometimes they're not outwardly ugly at all. They're very beautiful people, but their mind states and their brain space is just very ugly, and that puts you into an archetype of person. And it's like, why do you choose that? And some people, they just like off battle be like, no, I just like being like a bitchy person or this person. And I'm like, okay, buka. Like, why would you? I don't know. I just don't get that, for real. That's one of those things. But I really don't understand why certain people just kind of do that. And it really made me think that like in life, I feel like you have so much choice, and you don't have a lot of choice in the things that happen to you, but you do have a lot of choice in the way that you receive them and the way that you then interpret them and use them going forward. And for me, it's very interesting to see the people who have chosen to use what's happened to them and just make terrible choices and become terrible people. I'm never one to sit here and judge anybody for being the person that you are, because at the end of the day, that's not my business. I don't have to interact with someone I don't like. You don't have to interact with someone you don't like. But it's crazy that you choose to be a bad person. All tea, no shade, right? And this is not a nobody specific. This is just me making a very general observation. And yeah, I think that there's a very, very interesting science, I feel, that needs to be studied on people who are just genuinely bad people. When life ends for you and you look back on that, like, and the people who continue to do those things, when you look back on your life, what do you think? What did you get out of that, I guess, is the thing. And maybe for some people, it's not just to get something. Maybe for some people, they're just doing it because they're doing it. My coworkers and I, we love to play the scenario of like, if we were in a post-apocalyptic world, or we like to talk about if there was like a world without faith in it and things like that. And I think that the world would be extremely scary, because I think there's a lot more people that parade around to be good people that are not good people, but they are scared of like public scrutiny. And we can talk about that bar for bar any day of the week, because I truly believe that, like truly do believe that. That's just kind of some of the stuff I've been thinking about though this far, because that's just very interesting. And I just implore you guys to really look at the people that you are, really think about the people you are, and really care about the person that you are. Really think about, at the end of the world, at the end of your life, if everything is played back in front of you, are you okay with what you just saw? Are you okay with who you are? And if you're not, please change it. If you're doing anything that's harmful, please change it if you can. Some things we've already accounted for and we'll all atone for our sins for sure, but some things, yeah, girl, you gotta put on your big girl pants and stuff, you know, and just kind of do the right thing, because some people like do not care about who they're gonna be, and you should care about who you're gonna be, and you should care about who you want to be. Think about the person that you want to be, and think about what that says, you know, for you. Not saying none of this for anybody else, for you, like honestly. A better little segment. You're delusional that Christmas movies are overhyped. This one has a special place in my heart because I am not a fan of all Christmas movies. I like certain Christmas movies, but I'm more so just like adult themed movies, I guess, or like adult based movies, not necessarily all movies based around Christmas or thinking that everything is going to play out great for the Christmas season and all that kind of stuff. But I love a good story. If the Christmas movie has a good story, I love a good Christmas movie. I love The Grinch, but I love like the Polar Express, like old Christmas movies that I've watched and stuff like that. I love those. They're very nostalgic, anything like that. I wouldn't say that I would be going to see a newer Christmas movie coming out. Christmas is one of those things where I definitely get the hype. I think it's okay to be overrated. I think it's okay to be kind of like, you know, whatever about it, because I get it. I love Christmas myself, personally. I love it. I just don't enjoy a good Christmas movie. That's like, I think one of the only things about Christmas that I'm like, I could take or leave, but everything else, I love it. That and eggnog. Eggnog is fucking disgusting. Moving into our what we watching. I've already kind of talked about what we're watching, and I'm wearing what we're watching. My what we watching is going to be The Grinch, the Jim Carrey's 2000 version of The Grinch. That is the best version of The Grinch, my favorite version of The Grinch. My all-time thing, my all-time pow. She is like twinning them. We go back and forth, round and round. I really love The Grinch. I think that it's one of the most amazing movies made. I think the casting was good. I think it aged really well. I love the cinematography of it. I love the clunkiness, the bulkiness of like Whoville. I love the way that the Hughes express themselves. Miss Martha Mayhew, she is a baddie through and through, you know, all that kind of stuff. Top two, not two. She's my favorite Christmas movie of all time. This is my favorite movie of all time. Truly, I think throughout the whole time spectrum of whatever, this has been my favorite movie of all time. So I will have to say The Grinch is my what we watching. Let me know what you guys are watching. Let me know what your favorite Christmas movie is. And with all that being said, we are at the end of today's episode. If you are listening, please be sure to rate the podcast up above. And if you're a viewer, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes like this. If you're interested in more about the podcast or knowing more about the production company side of the podcast, you can follow us at LT Legacy Productions on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about me or just getting more real-time updates with the podcast episodes, you can follow me at the LaTerra Wair on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the You're Delusional podcast, and I'll see you next week. The You're Delusional podcast is produced by LT Legacy Productions and hosted by LaTerra Wair.